Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Brothers and sisters, yesterday I received this picture of a brother who had just taken the Shahadah, along with a message from him saying that he accepted Islam after the attacks that took place in New Zealand, because the New Zealand attack, it led him to the realization that he needed to accept Islam, and it triggered something in his mind. So the brother from our team, Taha, aka T9, got in touch with this brother whose name is now Bilal. Went to meet him outside his barbershop today in Luton to talk to him about this. And look what he had to say. This is powerful.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. The attacks that happened in New Zealand, many people around the world have taken the Shahadah, they've embraced Islam, and one of those brothers is with us today, and his name is Carl in Luton. So how are you doing today, Carl?
Used to be called Carl.
Used to be called
Bilal.
Carl. Bilal, Allahumma barik. Alhamdulillah. So would you mind if I asked you a couple of questions?
Not a problem at all.
So the first question I wanted to ask you was, why did you embrace Islam? Why did you take your Shahada?
It's not just to do with the tax. The tax was a little bit of a trigger for me to take my life a bit more seriously. I've been looking to Islam for a few years now, and one of my good brothers was guiding me and giving me advice. And I think it's happened at the right time, but when the attack happened, I don't mean to sound a bit weird, but I was jealous that the people were like in a holy place when they died. And I thought about my life. I could be in a club and something happened like that or anything. I wouldn't feel right in my, I don't know how to explain it, it's weird. But something in my heart said it was time,
So the New Zealand attacks made you realize that life is temporary.
It's temporary and it can happen. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are. But when your life goes, where would you want to be if you're in the Lord's house? That would be one of the best places I love. So I feel kind of jealous of them. So I don't want to be caught out, get knocked over in the street, anything. I don't know. I just want to, I think it's time for me to take my life seriously, and part of it is believing there is one God.
And just another thing we wanted to know as well, because you know how the media, it always pushes an anti-Islamic type of propaganda, but despite all of that, it didn't divert you away from Islam, rather it brought you closer.
I can't explain it, why it brought me closer. It's a feeling you get in yourself, and it's not something because someone's told you this or that. It's an emotional feeling. I could feel it. I could feel God talking to me, saying this time's right. There's nothing that can divert me from the truth. Yeah, and when it happens to someone, they will know, and it's happened to me. So I don't see no badness in Islam. I see badness in the media, which is man-made propaganda, but with the religion itself, I have not seen no hate. I just see bare love. And since even before I reverted, I've always been around Muslim people, and I've never had no headache or, just normal human problems, but I've always seen love.
When did you, take your Shahada? Was it, a few days after the attack? Was it?
I think it was literally 2 days after the attack. To be honest, at least.
Did someone speak to you about it, or how did it?
No. It was a weird thing because I haven't even told my brother this. The night of the attack, it was early mornings. I was practicing doing the salah, like 3-4 in the morning. It was weird. I never knew nothing about no attack, no TV on, but I was practicing it. But it was during the midst of I was doing some press ups, and I thought, and I started practicing. Yeah. And it's only the next day, when I heard everyone talking about it, it dawned on me like, wow, there's something special about what I was doing the night before. So let me look into it more, what should I do? And I started thinking about it, and I was like, my brother would come and see me, and I was like, I think it's time. You know what I mean? He said, are you sure? I said, you come and see me tomorrow? Yeah. And if I'm still sure, it's not an emotional thing where because this has happened, attack, or this is about me looking after my soul and trying to rub that off on my family. Because I've seen in Islam, there's a lot of good family base, morals and this and that. And I see in society things are changing because people are not using religion; they're just living off whatever. But I think with Islam, it helped my family get back together. Do you understand what I mean? don't know.
That's
I
amazing.
just feel good in my heart what I've done. So
What would your message be right now to any non-Muslims who they might have especially the ones who they have a negative image of Islam?
it's not their fault because they never was born with a negative image. They've been taught negative images. If they was to wipe their slates clean and start and really look at life, they would actually see the positive side of Islam. In every religion and every race and every different communities, there's always negative things, but the positive in Islam outweighs the negative 100%.
So finally, I don't want to take too much of your time.
No problem.
We have a little surprise gift for you, inshallah. So I'm going to call one of the brothers.
And that's what they've
Okay.
What's up?
Assalamu alaikum.
Hello?
Yeah, is it clear, yeah?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
I'm 1% though, yeah?
Okay, perfect.
I'm here now.
Okay. Salam alaikum, bro.
Salam, brother.
Sorry, Aki, man. I'm just in a different country. My batteries are 1%, so I just wanted to quickly just tell you something. First and foremost, I want to say, bro, firstly, welcome to the family.
Thank you.
Number two, Aki, I wanted to ask, Aki, do you know what Umrah is? Have you heard of Umrah before?
Umar.
Umrah, yeah. You go to Mecca and Medina.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah.
Basically, bro, I run a project where I take brothers to Umrah, to Mecca and Medina, right? So I just wanted to let you know, since we heard about coming to Islam, bro, we wanted to give you a gift and give you an all-expense package paid. Basically, come with us when we go in November, inshallah. How does that sound?
Sounds very. I sound blessed. That sound. Can't even breathe. Okay.
Bro, that's the least that we can do. That's the least we can do, man. Yeah. You there, Aki?
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, bro. It's the least we can do. The Prophet Muhammad said, give because it increases love. This is our gift to you and our first sign of love from our perspective as our brother in Islam.
Thank you very much. I feel humbled, man.
No problem, bro.
And he said what he said. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. Well, I really wanted to speak to you for longer, but
He said he
It's
just wanted
proper
to give the
difficult 'cause it's
message.
not- yeah.
Nah, that's me. When his
But
battery's
alhamdulillah.
charged, give him my number and tell him to phone me.
100% inshallah you will. Jazakallah khair for taking your, for giving us some time.
Umrah is a big thing. That's when.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the two, you said you wanted to be in the two holy cities and stuff.
Yeah.
You want to be in the holiest land. This is the holiest land.
Nah, I've seen that, bro. Nah,
Mecca and Medina.
You're going to be with brothers like these as well. So good brothers.
Nah.
100% inshallah. Barakallahu feek.
Bless up.
I'd love to see more of you as well, inshallah.
Brothers and sisters, I really want us to pause and reflect for a second with regards to what we just heard from Brother Bilal and with regards to that which took place in New Zealand. Wallahi, it was very sad. It's very heartbreaking, very painful, very emotional. The hearts they broke, the eyes they wept. But even with that said, we as Muslims, we have a very positive outlook on life. Because when we look at the calamity that which overtook our brothers and sisters, the women and children in New Zealand, we can't help but feel a sense of joy and happiness because they died in what appeared to be the best of ways. They died in a masjid after Salatul Jum'ah, and inshallah we pray Allah, He gives them martyrdom. He gives them Shahadah. And not just that, from this event that took place, we saw that it made so many people's attentions be directed towards Islam, and as a result of it, it triggered the conversion or reversion of hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of people to Islam. From them, as you heard from your very own, with your very own ears, Brother Bilal was of those whose Islam was triggered as a result of this incident. And because of that, I want us to ponder upon something that took place at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, from which you can draw parallels with what happened the other day. You see, at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, there was an event called the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, the event of Hudaybiyah, where the Prophet ﷺ advanced from Medina to Mecca with his companions, and they went for the purpose of making Umrah. When they arrived there, the Meccans, they imposed a treaty with very unjust and oppressive conditions. Without going into the details, the treaty was very unfair, and it resulted in Muslims having to be handed over to the disbelievers who were oppressing them, violating them, torturing them, and imprisoning them. Now the Sahaba, they felt like this is a huge calamity, a huge disaster, very sad, very disillusioned. They were a big calamity overtaking them. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said down an ayah. Allah said, "Inna fatahna laka fathan mubina." Allah said, verily, verily, this is a clear-cut victory. This is a victory. Now everyone's confused. How can this be a victory? Rather, this is a catastrophe. The Muslims are suffering, they're being oppressed. This is bad. But Allah told them this is a victory. And we found out as the years went on that this treaty actually was one of the main reasons why the Prophet ﷺ's da'wah was able to spread so far and wide. Such that within 2 to 3 years, about 2 years, the Prophet was able to spread his da'wah around the Arabian Peninsula. To such an extent that he had gathered an army of 10,000 men and he walked into Mecca and overtook the city of Mecca, the same city that imposed these sanctions on them and these oppressive terms. He overtook it without any bloodshed, except for a few skirmishes that took place on the outskirts of the city. So clearly it was a victory, and that from that conquest, then Islam started to spread all over Arabia till it went to the footsteps of China in the east, until it went to the shores of Spain in the west. Now at the beginning the Sahaba couldn't see this as a victory, but Allah told them it was a victory. To show you sometimes you don't understand the wisdom behind why Allah does certain things. But know that Allah, He hasn't left you stranded. Allah, He hasn't thrown you to the dogs. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always watching over us. And as long as we hold on to the rope of Allah, which is the Quran, Sunnah and the methodology of the Salaf, the Sahaba and their students, know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never let go of us. And even if it seems like the days are dark, the days of brightness are just around the corner. And wallahi, these people coming to Islam, these are an example of the days of brightness. Exactly how the days seemed dark at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, but that incident was a reason for people to come to Islam in their thousands. And we pray that these incidences that have been taken, that seem so bad, are inshallah also going to be a reason for many people in the thousands and the millions to come to Islam. And that's how it happened. Even after 9/11, many don't know, so many people came to Islam. The same way this incident, pray many more will come inshallah ta'ala, until Islam will enter each and every single house. With that said, brothers and sisters, I'm going to love you and leave you, but I just want to make 2 quick announcements. As you saw, we invited our brother Bilal as a gift to come to Umrah with us, and I wanted to also extend an invitation to any one of you brothers who would like to come onto this Umrah trip with us. It's going to be in November. In the second week of November, we're going to be going for about 10 days. If you call the number below and go to the website link below, you'll be able to get more information. I'm not sure if the website's been fully updated, but if you call the number, even if you're international, you can WhatsApp the number inshallah ta'ala, and someone from the team will get back to you ASAP with all the dates, all the information. But just know that spaces are running dry. We haven't officially even launched it, and already 8 spaces have already been taken up. This trip will be bigger and better than the previous ones. It's the 4th time we're going to be going inshallah ta'ala, and please believe that inshallah it's going to be amazing. Okay. The second thing is, we always take brothers who really need to go. Those who are struggling with their iman, those who sometimes are selling drugs, sometimes in the streets, sometimes come out of jail, sometimes in all sorts of situations. Whatever the situation might be, they really need to go, okay? And they don't have the ability and the funds to come themselves, either because they're broke or their money is haram. So we try to raise the funds for them through you guys. So if you would like to facilitate anyone to be able to go to Umrah and have a life-changing experience, and you can see from the previous videos an example of another revert brother who we took and his life changes as a result of it, then please donate at the link below, because you will get the reward of giving them charity, and also anything that they do in terms of khair after that, you'll get that reward as well. So please donate as much as you can, as generously as you possibly can. We also take sisters on Umrah trips as well, and we raise for sisters as well. So please, whatever the link is below for brothers or sisters, give and give generously. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.